Every family has secrets, but most families don't have fans all over the world who want to know all of them. The royal family has had its fair share of secrets, and new details are coming to light all the time. The royal family's lives are open books for the world, and people can't seem to get enough of all of them. Something that many weren't aware of was the fact that the late Prince Philip had an obsession with aliens and mysterious aircrafts, with royal aides saying that this fascination went on for several decades. His interest began in 1955, when Lord Louis Mountbatten reported an experience one of his employees had with a spaceship at the Broadlands estate in Romsey, England. Fred Briggs, the employee in question, was in a daze when Lord Mountbatten saw him after the incident. He said he saw a flying object hovering just above the ground, and a man with overalls and a helmet came out. Briggs claims he was then knocked off his bicycle, and that an unseen force pinned him to the ground. He was sure no one would believe him. After all, he himself had never believed in these types of stories before, which made this experience especially surprising. It was said that Prince Philip kept track of mysterious sightings on a map in Buckingham Palace, and there was also a rumour that he'd asked to see top-secret Ministry of Defence reports on these encounters. He'd also spent years collecting books on extraterrestrials. He spent the summer of 2019 reading a book called The Holt Experience, which tells the story of the Rendlesham Forest incident in 1980. This event is one of the most famous sightings in Britain to date. Back in December of 1980, located near the outskirts of Rendlesham Forest, a wooded area located in Suffolk, England, there was a series of reports made by credible eyewitnesses that detailed the event of a mysterious flying object that had reportedly landed in the forest and was at the centre of a number of unexplainable phenomena throughout the area. These witness reports would include sworn affidavits from multiple military officers in high positions. At around 3 in the morning on December 26th, a security patrol at the Royal Air Force Base Woodbridge saw what they described as bright lights descending nearby the Rendlesham Forest. The security patrol described the lights as that of a downed aircraft, and so quickly rushed to investigate their sighting, working to follow its general direction in the forest. Once they arrived within sight of the aircraft, the grouped men took notice of the fact that the animals nearby, native to that region of the forest, appeared to be screeching and going into a panicked frenzy. The men described what they saw as a glowing object, metallic in appearance surrounded with attached and brightly coloured lines. One of the members of the security patrol, Sergeant Jim Peniston, later wrote in his memo that the team had encountered a craft of unknown origin, which only helped to confirm the sighting of a mysterious flying aircraft. Additional evidence was gathered the next day by a high military official known as Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, of whom found despite radiation readings at the supposed site of the landed craft within Rendlesham Forest, as well as a triangle depression that sank within the ground, as if a large object with a massive pressing force had recently been resting on that region. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt would later be punished and reprimanded for creating witness reports, sworn affidavits, and going on record to say that he believed the event to be extraterrestrial in nature, and that the incident had been covered up by both the governments of the United Kingdom and the United States. Oddly enough, the UK is no stranger to mysterious stories involving strange aircrafts. The earliest known written record of bizarre animal surgeries and sudden disappearances of a large number of livestock comes from an official document dated sometime during the early 1600s, when an investigator for the court of James I of England claimed that impossible to explain mass explorations of sheep were being recorded all across London, and also nearby shires. It was originally believed that the sudden explorations of the sheep could have been caused by neighbouring farms competing in market production, alongside hungry travellers that were committing theft as they travelled throughout London, of which was the most heavily populated region during the 1600s. When the investigations took place, however, evidence was found that seemed to reject the original hypothesis. According to the court investigator, the sheep were found to have expired through causes that were otherwise impossible to attribute to human activity. Their organs, meat and fleece remained untouched, with only evidence of possible tallow removal, and blood having been completely drained from the animal with no spillage surrounding the body. Even more difficult to explain was the sheer number of sheep that suddenly expired, in what farmers believe would have been over the course of only a few hours. The investigator wrote that in some cases there was more than 100 sheep that suddenly expired, and there was no evidence of footprints, tracks or spillage that could point towards a group of people having perpetrated the crime. When the investigator asked local regions that were at the epicenter of this series of sheep disappearances and explorations, many attributed the sight of brilliant fireworks nearby to have been the possible cause. Some believed that the fireworks could have scared the sheep and caused them to pass away in fright, whereas others believed that the lights they'd seen in the sky could have had a more sinister purpose. The court ended the investigation with the following comment: about the city of London and some of the shires adjoining, whole explorations of sheep have been made, in some places to a number 100, in others less, when nothing is taken from the sheep but their tallow and some inward parts, the whole carcass and fleece remaining still behind, but most agree that it tendeth towards some fireworks. So what do you make of these interesting stories? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.